Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Matt Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here, oh, look at Nussblush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Kengan. Kenny Kengan wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Kengan, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97 home. That is the way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the other auto custodian, Billy Friedrich. Jones one, all coming down the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the corporate Peter Loshak, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a dawn. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, and we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio is all. Is a man named Slaughter, and he flipped the script. No competition in this but they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, betting with the bag and you love it. You want a top 10, we above it. Let's check.
Yo, everyone. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. My name is Peter Loshak. We do this every Tuesday. Today is November 26th, Thanksgiving week here in the sports betting world. It's one of those days of college basketball all day long at a lot of games with neutral sites. So that's very interesting. We can talk about that. I've looked at the whole card. I've made a bunch of bets, also a bunch of marquee matchups on today's card. Haven't really touched any of those, but I believe we will be talking about those with Dabby Cab. The UNC game is interesting. Of course, the Duke game is interesting. They're all interesting. The marquee games I haven't really touched yet on today's card. A bunch of stuff I did bet. I took a shot with Hampton, getting a whole bunch of points against High Point. A lot at this point in the season, a lot of these underdogs that seem like maybe they shouldn't be that big of a dog, I tend to be attracted to, and they win a lot more often than not. They do sometimes lose, sometimes, a lot of times I'll take, some 8-point dog. I don't understand the line, and they'll lose by 15 or 20. And I'll be like, all right, well, maybe there's something that I wasn't seeing. But those kinds of plays at this point in the season are winning for me more than not. I did take ODU against Duquesne. That game is already off. In the upcoming, I probably am on the wrong side of Tulsa, Detroit, but I did take Detroit. I took it at 9. That line is headed up. That's probably not worth tailing. But I did take Hampton plus 11.5 against High Point. Don't understand the line. If they lose by 20, that's okay. But I bet it. Think it's a decent play. Let's see. I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at the early college basketball games, and then we'll get to Mr. Gokster because we only have 2 games on the NHL card tonight. So that means it can be like old times. We can burn 10, 15 minutes. We can burn 20 minutes. We can burn 25 minutes and bring Mr. Gokster in for just 5 minutes at 11:25 to talk about the 2 NHL games. But we won't do that. I'll quickly glance at the comments section, and then we'll bring Gogi in, and we'll start talking NHL. Let's see what we got here. Shout out to Justin McElvey, Kong's Clips. Remos, where the hell is Pete? Am I not on? Is not every Jose Bouquett? You want to drop in? Jose Bouquett?
Yeah, you're here, Pete. Don't worry.
Everything
Just
good?
Talking about your lack of facial hair, Pete.
Oh, right. See, God, in my younger years, I would have caught that quick, real fast. But I'm getting old, so where's Pete? I don't know. I'm right here. What? Why are they asking where I am? Is my camera off? What's going on?
Yeah, that was an old man moment from you, Pete. But you look great.
Don't get old, Jose Bouquett. Don't get old. In 20, 30 years, people are going to be like, where's Jose? And you're going to be like, I'm right here. Why are they asking where I am? I don't know what's going on. Maybe my camera's broken.
You've got a good impersonation of me. You got a pretty good one.
Jose Bouquett. I'm already, I'm the only one in the world who can do a 50-year-old Jose Bouquett impersonation. Man, Jose. The world might not even be here. You might. Yeah,
I tip my hat to you.
Yeah. We might not even. None of us might be here in 20 years or whenever that'll be. All right. King Al says, hey, fellas, any curly college basketball, Pete? Yes. I'll share with you what I bet. Again, as always, these are not guaranteed to win. They are not guaranteed to be positive EV. They are guaranteed, though, to be plays that I'm actually on. I took Detroit. I would not recommend you tail that. Yeah, Detroit is probably overachieved ATS and the Chickens.
What would you recommend he does tail, though?
Well, if I had to pick one, which on the last show, our friend Chang pinned me down on it, and thankfully it did cash. I did take Belmont. Same goes for a lot of 1 and 2 point favorites that I think should be bigger favorites and aren't. 35, 40% of the time I'm proven wrong, but more often than not, I'm proven right. I took Belmont. That's a later game against LMU. Took it at 1.5. I think it's up to 2. We'll see. I could be wrong on that one, but that's a play that I bet and didn't quite understand the line. I took Belmont. Took it first half as well. A lot of the plays I'm really liking in college basketball, I'll take first half and full game. And then let's see. Belmont I took -1.5. Let me just quickly scan and see. The Stanford Grand Canyon game. That's another one. I don't quite understand why the line is pick 'em. I thought Stanford would be worth a shot, but the line was fishy. I didn't pull the trigger on that.
How do you feel about Eastern Kentucky? Justin McKelvey's stacks play of the day there. I'll run it one time for Justin while you ponder your Eastern Kentucky thoughts, old Pedro. So shout out to Stacks. How do you feel
that
about
one? I will admit I got pretty pretty burned on Eastern Kentucky against Ball State in their last game. That was one of the lines that seemed off to me. Maybe I was wrong. I mean, they only lost by 2, and they did cover the first half, I believe. So half my bet cashed. I liked Eastern Kentucky a lot in their last game. Got burned by it on the final score. And I would take them here. It's just I don't like to fade. I don't want to fade Southern Illinois right now. So I pass on that game. Very interesting game, though. And maybe a halftime play I will make. Yesterday was one of those great days, Jose Bouquett, where like my picks on paper did awesome, but then the bets I actually made wound up winning. So with halftime and live stuff. So take it a little bit easy. That game I might have a live bet on or a halftime bet on, but pregame I'm going to pass. And again, did get burned taking them. I love them against Ball State and they lost. Justin McAfee likes Tulsa -9 early college basketball. Yeah, that's probably the right side. And I took Hampton plus a bunch of points. I took Belmont -1.5. I'm just trying to remember so many friggin' games. It's so
well. While you do that, I'm going to bring on our hockey guest because I'm not sure. Okay. I don't think he has a time limit today. Short card, obviously, but I don't think he's got a time limit today. He's got plenty of time for us today. Peter Loshak, Mr. Gokster joins the program. Gokster, hello, nice to see you. You're unlimited time today, huh?
Yeah, figures, Pete. I got the day off pretty much today, and there's 2 games, but we can take our time.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking at some other stuff. I actually did take Penn State against Clemson -1. Now I remember that. Again, could get burned, but Penn State, there's a good vibe. Clemson's good, which is why the line is competitive. But I think more often than not, Penn State wins that game. So I did take that one. I took Penn State, and I also, which might have been a mistake, we'll talk with Dabby Cab about it. I did take a shot with Michigan State -1.5 against Memphis. Of course, Memphis is coming off of the big game against UConn. They are an impressive team. But in light of that, Michigan State, I'm hoping, should be good enough to get the win. That might have been a mistake. I think I like the Penn State one a lot more. But yeah, I guess if I was going to recommend a play right now, Belmont, Penn State a little bit less, maybe Hampton. And I also don't understand the Boston College line. I took them +10 against Boise, neutral court. All right. Should I shut up about college basketball? And Dayton.
Oh, that's 8. All your early plays. If you got all those early plays out, then I guess that's it. But no, Nasty Nate, don't you worry. We need to get those hoops out there. I just wanted to make sure that Gokster didn't have to leave us in about 20 minutes.
No, we're just chilling. Everyone comment on your on what you're liking in college basketball or anything else on today's card, and then we'll slowly ease into the 2 NHL games. Yeah, I'm glancing over. I also took North Dakota -3. Bethune-Cookman, I have bet them this year, and they've been better than the market has been giving them credit for. So I don't love fading them, but I did take North Dakota -3 against Bethune-Cookman. Probably a sell high spot on Bethune-Cookman. And yeah, that's it. That's it for the early games.
Let's go.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. So we ready? You want to move into NHL right now?
Let's do it, Pete.
Let's do it. Yeah, Nate Dogg asking about UConn. Whole lot of college basketball. I'll push college basketball out of my brain, and let's talk about the 2 NHL games on the card. Please, everyone in the comment section, let us know what you think. First game on the card, Vancouver-Boston. Now, I don't always make sports betting bets that win, but when I read about a coaching change and a strategy change, and I know what I'm seeing, I tend to win, and that happened with Boston last 2 games. Of course, coaching change for Boston. Joe Sacco, interim coach. And Boston, probably not an elite team, but pretty clearly underachieving to start the year. And their new strategy was, play strong defense. We don't care if we win, just limit shots. And I should have bet it. I should have gone all in on the first game where they won 1-0 against Utah. That one went way under. I did have Boston -1, which pushed, but I had the under. I had the Utah team total under. And then the next game, again, a win and an under. Now, third game with the new coach and the new system against Vancouver. Small favorite, of course, a low total, 5.5. I think juiced to the under even. And Vancouver is better offensively than the first 2 teams that Boston played. So big question here is how well will Boston be able to continue holding shot numbers down against a team like Vancouver? I think probably they will be able to, but I definitely don't feel as great about it as I did the first 2 games under the new coach. Would still be leaning Boston, still be leaning under, still be leaning Vancouver, team total under. But I want to hear what you and the comment section have to say about this one. Mr. Gokster, what do you think?
And what a breakdown, Pete. That's exactly what this game is going to come down to, is the shots that Vancouver are going to produce. Offensively, too, they're humming right now. Just bringing up, since November here, we got Pasternak's got 9 points, Marchand's got 8, Bergeau's got 6, and he got a whole handful that have 4. That's in 11 games, too. And then if we take a look at here, Vancouver here. Let me just get to Vancouver. Even though, Pete, they just lost JT Miller. Now, that's one of their assistant captains, leader with this team. He's got an indefinite leave, should be back for the playoffs, maybe even sooner, but he's going to be out. But still, since November, you got a Pedersen with 11 points, Quinn Hughes, 11 points, DeBrus 9, Garland 8, Kiefer Sherwood, who's on the first line now. It's going to be tough. This is a really tough cap, to be honest, Pete, but I go back to the old famous play here from your boy Gokster here. No goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds. Defensively, like you laid it out perfectly. That's what the new coach Sacco. They're just accountable defense. They're not going to get in a lot of 2-on-1s, a lot of bad situations. Swayman too, quickly this month, 3-3-1, 890 save percentage, but he's been much better at home, Pete. And then both teams also have a back-to-back. Canucks are playing at Pittsburgh. Bruins are playing at the Islanders. So this feels like a lower scoring game. Lankinen should be in net tonight. I expect Swayman as well. Not confirmed yet. But Lankinen 5-3. Good record, Pete, but he has an 886 save percentage with a 3.10 goals against. So they're winning higher scoring games, the Canucks, with Lankinen on the road. And I don't know if that's going to be a recipe to win against the Bruins. One thing, too, to keep note, Bruins have not won a game. This is with the old coach now on St. Louis, but they haven't won a game by 3 or more. So they've had a couple two-goal wins, like 4-2, 3-1. But they haven't really beat a team, like I said, by 3 goals. So feels like a lower scoring tight game. No goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds, plus 100. Also Besser for the Canucks, Pete, day-to-day. Got a concussion, not looking like he's not going to be playing. And then Hampus Lindholm. This is another key defenseman who's not going to be in for the Boston Bruins. Top defenseman really for this team next to McAvoy. Without him, that's a lot of outlet passes, I would say, from Hampus Lindholm. Might test their depth a bit, even though they have actually the trade DeBrusque, who used to play for the Bruins on Canucks, and then Zadorov. He's on the third line. He used to play for the Canucks, now on the Bruins. So I think it'll be a lower scoring game. Still going to be tougher for the Canucks. They played a good game against the Rangers, 4-3 loss, then 4-3 win against Ottawa. Don't see it being that high. Don't see that many goals happening here in this one, Pete. Quickly power play penalty kill. Advantage Canucks, 23% power play, 75% penalty kill. And then the Bruins are only at 10%. So more I'm thinking about it, I don't know if the Bruins are going to – it's going to be tough, I think, for the Bruins really to generate a lot. Just they've scored two and one goal. Like that's not – they got a whole new makeup, a whole new offense, it seems like. So lean towards the under, but no goal first 9 minutes, 30 seconds speed. That's the play.
But am I right in my assessment of Vancouver being in general a strong offensive team? Yes,
I would agree. Even without JT Miller, they're still a fast team. And then they're talking about DeBrusque. He's been playing really well. He's coming back home to Boston too tonight. It's going to be tough. I want to see how they're going to be without Miller as games go on here, because he was tied for the team in goals leading up till he departed, and then second in points as well. So it's long term. I want to see how the Canucks are offensively, but they've really stepped up in the last 2 games since he's been gone. So yeah.
All right, let's see what people in the comment section have to say about this one. Billy Friedrich liking the under 5.5 again. Dan Bonner, he's liking it. Oh, DC Capper, there you go, Belmont. Full game in first half. Yeah, what can I say? I don't know if it's going to win. I don't know if it's positive EV. I do know I'm on it. I do know that for sure. Robert Franklin liking the under. Okay. Andrew G. Hey, Pete, I was reading about AI quantum supercomputers the other day. USA has number 1, and it's called El Capitan. Great. It's over for us. There's going to be 2 fucking psychopaths, sociopath, warmongers sitting on a hill with all of humanity gone. They're going to be like, that wasn't too bad. Maybe we should have done that. Kind of fun.
You called this 8 years ago, Pete. You said the AI was coming. You said it was coming. I remember.
People have been knowing about this since like the friggin' 50s and 60s. It's coming. It's coming. But we're still here, baby. We are still here. All right, let's see what other people are having. All right, I don't know. I'm trying to. Oh man, yeah. Nuke worker knows what I'm talking about. I want to take the under. I want to take the under 6 at a favorite line. I feel very nervous about taking Boston on the money line though.
I got some goals for, goals against per period here. Home road split. So the Canucks 8 goals in the first, 12 in the second, 14 in the third, and then the Bruins at home are 8-7-6. So as the game goes on, like the Canucks are going to be more dangerous, and then but goals against 9, 10, 12, 9, 8, 9. So this is a tough side cap. The total feels like the play in the under.
Weirdly, Boston's last game, they're actually 2 goals in the first.
Yeah, I still don't see that happening as the game goes on. Yeah, they haven't been allowing a lot, but I feel like a team in the Bruins, Pete. They're not a team where you're not going to see like a Canucks. Like it's not going to be up and down real quick. I really that's not where I see Kako. It's going to be Sacco. Sorry. It's just a slower game. Like certain teams do that. Like their bottom 2 lines too. Sorry, Pete. Their bottom 2 lines are also really slow. Like the speed for the Canucks is going to be a test tonight for the Bruins. I would say that's the big story.
At some point, Boston's going to have overs and they're going to go back to more normal scoring. I don't feel comfortable taking the full game under. I'll take one more time a first period under 1.5 minus 112. Vancouver, Boston, first period under 1.5 minus 112. That's an official pick. Let's glance at the comment section and then move on. Rod Z points out Canucks 4-0 on the road when the total's 5.5 and 3-1 to the over in those games. Yeah. Taking Boston here and the under was obviously my first instinct, but it's making me very, very nervous. Very, very nervous. All right, let's move on. Second game on the NHL card today is Utah and Montreal. Utah, actually not bad on their current road trip. They were the first team that ran into Boston, and of course they got shut out 1-0 in that game. Montreal also been kind of good overall over the last 5 games. Not necessarily winning, but playing competitively as a big dog. Montreal is a small home dog here, and the total is 6. Slightly juiced to the over is what I saw. Now Montreal coming off a bad game, right? And they got booed in their last game. So they figured to come back here, if not full game, first period. If they get down in this game, I will strongly be considering a live bet on Montreal. I don't see them getting blown out in this one, if not winning it. I don't really know. Maybe it's a pass. I don't love to bet against Utah right now, but it feels like I want to find a bet on Montreal one way or another. Maybe wait and see for a live bet. But small home dogs, very tempting coming off a game where they got booed and they know it.
Yeah, they are. And they've had a really odd schedule, Pete. This is only their second game in the last 8 days. I don't know how that works out, but they played on the 23rd, and they didn't play before that to the 18th. Now they're playing on the 26th. I think they're chomping at the bit. Like you said, they got booed before against Vegas. This is a team that wants to get back on the ice, I think, Pete. Going up against a team, though, in Utah that's completely healthy. And Vejmelka, listen to that. Like, he's 2-4, Pete, with a .938 save percentage. Come on. Like, the guy's doing everything he can. On the road, he's 1-4 with a .935 save percentage, 2.04 goals against. That's insane. Usually it'd be 4-1, the opposite. On the other side, Montembeault, he's 5-5 at home this month, .903 save percentage, 3.18 goals against. I think this could be a weird game. I think the first period we could see goals, and then as the game goes on, I don't know how much offense we're going to see. Currently on this road trip for Seattle here, or sorry, for Utah, they are 1-2, 8 goals for, only 5 against. Like they've really they've been actually playing decently defensively. Only thing is it's the last game of a 4-game road trip though, Pete. So I find sometimes when you get that last game of a 4-game road trip, you can see some goals. That's why the first period both teams to score. I'm going to fire on that. That's going to be a play here. Plus 155. Utah coming off a loss 3-2 to Toronto. I had them in the first period in that game. They're up 1-0 in the first. Toronto had 3 in the second, I think, and they just kind of crumbled a bit. But before that nice 6-1 win, lost to Boston. They've had some losses here. They are allowing goals as well. I wouldn't be on Utah full money line here, but I think we could see some goals here tonight. Also, the goalies here, tough for Montembeault to get in any rhythm anytime you're playing 2 games in 8 days. And then Vejmelka, he has been playing well, actually, but they just haven't had the goal support. Another stat here, guys, quickly. Goals for per period this month. The Montreal in 9 games, Pete, they've only scored twice in the first. You could say, all right, well, why would you take them to score in the first? But I think that's going to switch here. 2-9-13. I really expect I expect Montreal to come out really strong in the first, and I do think Utah can match it. A healthy hockey team right now, coming off a loss, good in the first period. As the game goes on, though, I can see this going to overtime, 4-3. I would take an over, and then the first period both teams to score, but plus 155 is the official play.
You like the over, huh? Because I was thinking about Utah team total under. It is juice, but you're getting 3.5. I mean, Montembeault's coming off of that bad game. Before that, he shut out Edmonton.
I know.
And he held down Columbus,
I know, but how many games was he? He was probably playing like he was in a rhythm. Like, a lot of goaltenders, I find, Pete, when they play, 4 or 5 games and almost in a row, and they're playing well. 1-2 goals against, good goals against, good save percentage. That's when you kind of want to bet him. This 2 games in 8 days, and he really. They had 5 days, they've had 5 days off before they played Vegas. And then, he didn't look good in that game. Now they got another 3 days in between. 2 days in between there. It could be a bounce back, could be in play here from Montembeault. 3.5 under on Utah does seem kind of safe. That's quite a bet. I don't know if they're going to score 4 here. First period, we should see some fireworks tonight.
Yeah. Andrew G says, our edges are slowly disappearing, but together we are strong. We get hive-minded. Only way to fight back. Andrew G, I'm going to get me an abacus. You know what abacus is? I'm going to get me an abacus. I'm going to beat those fucking quantum computers with my abacus and my gut feels. All right. I'll tell you what my gut feel tells me here. I want to take Montreal one way or another. I want to, I'm going to take it. Okay. It could lose. I mean, this is my gut feel, though. I'm going to take Utah team total under 3.5 minus 145. Montreal got booed in their home. I'd like to see a quantum computer imitate the Godfather better than I can. In their home, they got booed. Now it's the next game. Game before, Montembeault shut out Edmonton, right? I think they're going to play tough defense the entire game. And I think I'm going to take a Utah team total under 3.5 minus 145. If it loses, that's all right. I'm seeing it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's not a bad number. I thought you were going to maybe get 170, 180, 145. I don't mind that at all, Pete. And then one thing quickly there, you talked about the booing. That's like the Yankees getting booed. Like Montreal Canadiens getting booed, guys. That's where hockey started, right? Like Montreal that's all they got. So for them to boo, Montreal first period. Maybe Montreal first period is the play more. I'm thinking about it, but I do think Utah here, last game of the 4-game road trip, 1-2, looked really good against Toronto. Now you got a team Montreal that hasn't played in a while. Should be interesting.
The more we're talking about, the more I'm liking it because, I know. Okay, the rhythm. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Like, I know what it's like to be a professional NHL hockey player, but they got booed, And again, Utah 4th game. Utah's been playing well. They put up 6 against Pittsburgh. And of course, you get a goal late or whatever, and put it to 4. But I'm going to take a shot with Utah. I also think I do like Montreal just on the money line as a home dog, but I'm not going to double up on it. Although, where is it? Someone said they liked it. Rod Z likes Montreal. Yeah. Nate Dog 420 likes Montreal and Caulfield to score. Okay, I got to pick in both games here. I'm taking the first period under Vancouver, Boston, 1.5 minus 112. Utah team total under 3.5 minus 145. Gogi, remind us what you got in these 2 games.
All right, Pete. I got Utah Canadiens. We're going first period, both teams to score plus 155. And then Canucks Bruins, no goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds, plus 100. And then one thing here quickly, Maverick Lamoureux. This guy was a top defenseman, top pick for Utah. He's Lamoureux. You can guess where he's from. He's from Montreal, Quebec, Laval, just outside of where they're playing tonight. So this is whenever you have a lot of hometown French players coming back to Montreal Bell Center, they always get up. They have a lot of people at the game as well. So I really feel like we're going to see some goals here tonight. I'd be surprised actually if Utah just lays an egg.
Well, that's not good. Oh man. So you're saying that they?
Well, it's just like you got the young kid here coming back home. Like Montreal is a place too, Pete. Like I feel like bad teams can almost honestly they can get up against Montreal. I'm not saying they're just like a bad team, but playing at the Bell Center is like this is a big deal. And this is a 20-year-old kid. This is going to be his first time playing. You could say, yeah, he might be a little bit nervous too. But I just feel like this is it's the last. It's not like you're playing in Columbus or something. No offense to Columbus, like you're playing in like a dud of an arena. Like this is going to be it's going to be a good game tonight.
You're saying it's not going to be a sleepy atmosphere. Yeah, I hear you. All right, I'm just going with my basic cap, which is that Montreal needs to come back and play a strong game, and at absolute minimum, not give up 6 goals again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% agree there.
All right, Gogi. Great. Let's see how many. Is there an NHL card next Tuesday? How many games we got on the next Tuesday?
So I got good news and bad news. Good news is there's a whole bunch of games. Bad news is I am not able to make the show next Tuesday, unfortunately. Pete, I tried. I really tried, brother. I did. You know, it figures we got 2 games today. I wish I could have made today's show and then made the 15 games next Tuesday. But I will not be here next Tuesday. I will be here the following Wednesday, though. But yeah,
15 games next Tuesday. You got to be shitting me.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
shit,
weird the
man.
schedule too. Like we got 15 games tomorrow too. Like it's going to be a crazy hockey show tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
Tune in. I also I got the full card. I can stay till 12:30 tomorrow. So
well, don't you worry about that, Gokster, because I'm not doing a show tomorrow. So there's something even better about that. You're giving Pete anxiety about a card for next week, Gokster.
I'll be good.
Why are we doing a show tomorrow? What's going on?
Thanksgiving, dog.
I thought that was Thursday.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have multiple Thanksgivings, you know, so that's how that works.
Sean Higgs in the comment section. Sean Higgs, I don't know how long you're going to be around. We would love for any college basketball comments you got. Everyone follow Sean Higgs on Twitter. This guy's the real deal. He tracks his stuff. He's up there on the leaderboards. For anyone who doesn't know him, Sean motherfucking Higgs. If you got anything on any college basketball, Sean Higgs, I took Penn State. You think that's stupid? Lay it on me. Don't hold back. I took Penn State, Sean Higgs. I also took Michigan State less. That might be stupid. Maybe I'll just preemptively call that pick stupid. You don't have to even tell me. Oh, Sean Higgs likes VMI and over. Well, yeah, VMI's on the road. I'll look at that game. We will look at that. We'll look at the college basketball in a little bit. All right, Bogey. Whenever we see you next, we'll all be very happy to see you next.
Well, I just want to say, happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the States. It's enjoy the Thanksgiving, enjoy the football games and whatnot. But before I go, quickly, Pete, AHL play here tonight. Depending on the goaltending, but Coachella Valley, Tucson Roadrunners. I do like the over full game 5.5, but it depends on who's in net. We need this guy, Alice Staska, for Coachella there. I'll tweet this out, guys. Gokster99. If he's going to be in net for Coachella, I'm taking the full game over 5.5 minus 115. So a little play in the AHL for you before I go.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Sounds
work,
good.
Gokster.
I'm just seeing right now, Sean Higgs, Detroit. Yeah, Sean, I took that myself. We'll see how that game turns out. It's making me a little bit nervous. I might be buying eye on Detroit right now, but that's how I live pretty much. Robert Franklin also liked Detroit. We'll see. Just one play, but we'll see how it turns out. Murray State minus 4.5. That's an interesting one. I do like Murray State in general. I didn't bet that. Oh, they're playing Arlington, right? Yeah, Arlington's been good, though, ATS. I passed on that one. It's an interesting one. Justin McElvey, Tulsa Smack City, could easily see that happening as well. All right, Jose Bouquett, what do we got next?
NBA with one getting Billy Brisbane joining the program. Billy, nice to see you. A grinder of the UFC, a little bit of a break from the UFC, but not from the grind. The grind always stays. Nice to see you, Billy.
Break from the UFC. This is PFL. We got over 30 PFL championship fights on Friday morning, not night, Friday morning from 9 a.m. to fucking 5 o'clock p.m. over 30 fucking fights. So there's no breaks in this business.
Never. It's nice to see you, Billy. Good luck to both of you here.
Thank you very much. I'm going to need it. I'll tell you what, Billy Brisbane, I looked at these 5 games. All very interesting. I didn't make any bets for sure, and don't even have any leans really, although I find that I do pretty well, like listening to you guys and reading between the lines and listening and figuring out what might be a decent play. We have 5 games on the card tonight, all the in-season tournaments. Let's start, Brizzy. Chicago, Washington, right? Washington is a home dog here, about 4.5. Line hasn't really moved. Total was high and now has gotten bet up a little bit because, Chicago not really playing good defense. When they win, they're very high-scoring games. but Chicago not really playing well. Washington playing significantly worse. Chicago is a 4.5-point road favorite here. They've only been a favorite once this year, and they lost outright. Last time Washington was a dog this small, they were at home, and they lost by 20. So I'm not really sure what to think here. I guess I'd be leaning Chicago. I honestly have no clue on this game. Do you have anything on this one, Brizzy?
Yeah, this is always like a weird cap because where the front office sees the Chicago Bulls and where the public sees the team isn't reflective in their season standing so far. I mean, they're right there with everybody else. They're right in the playing games. They want to tank, but the Bulls players have been playing well. For their flaws, they do have scorers on that team. The Wizards have just been a disaster night in and night out, going 4-10-1 ATS despite being almost damn near double-digit dogs nightly. Their losing streak has now stretched out to 11 games straight. They played in 10 different arenas as well throughout this stretch. It's starting to show in their shooting numbers head-to-head wise. The Bulls have won 7 out of their last 10 meetings head-to-head versus Washington, and the Bulls have won each of their last 9 road games versus an Eastern Conference opponent following a loss. I like Chicago here on the spread, which is kind of weird because when I first looked at this game, I thought the line was kind of fishy, but kind of digging deeper into it. This is just a very generous line. I think the Bulls are going to win this game. I'm more than likely probably going to lay the 4.5. You just got to be careful with the NBA around this time of year, especially the week of Thanksgiving. These are humans as well. You see somebody that wasn't on the injury report, then that 1-30 injury news report comes out, boom, they're out. they're thinking about Thanksgiving. So every team in the league plays tomorrow as well. So I think there's only 2 teams in the league that don't play tomorrow. So I'm a little bit cautious about this NBA card here. You're not just emptying out the fucking wallet. But if I did have to say one of the top plays that I'm looking at for today, it's got to be the Bulls here, minus the 5. Player prop wise, Zach LaVine's been lighting up the scoreboard. He's been kind of – so it's like Vucevic is in the best spot, but I also feel like Zach LaVine has just been playing the best basketball. If you look at his over 22.5 points during this time, he's gone over his point prop. 9 out of 15 games, averaging 22.73 points per game. When you look at Patrick Williams is out, so that's going to increase his usage rating, and some of the young guys like Matas Buzelis will probably get some minutes as well. But just looking at this just seems like a very primetime spot for Zach LaVine. Washington's worse in the league for defensive efficiency, near the bottom for points allowed for the shooting guard position, and they're 24th when defending the 3. So everything's just popping here for Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's probably going to go off. Like, the more and more I look into this, Zach LaVine's going to have a really good game.
Okay, I'm writing that note down. I'm
looking at. This is the first time I'm looking at the player prop thing that I usually use. Zach LaVine's popping. I'll tell you that. If you're playing daily fantasy, make sure you circle Zach LaVine's name. Like, it's not a name that is a normal name that you probably would bet on night in, night out. But if you look at the totals on today's board, 243.5 going up to 245.5. This opened at 239.5. This is the game that you want to bet the player props in.
Right. Yeah. Robert Franklin likes Bulls minus 4.5, but Jermaine 34 says game should be a pick 'em. I don't know. I feel like one thing I'm a little bit good at in NBA is the shitty teams that have value as a big dog, and I don't feel that way about Washington. So maybe that means that Chicago is the side with value here. It's going to be a pass for me. We have disagreement in the comment section. Super high total.
I think we also have to talk about the
standings. Go ahead.
I think we have to talk about the standings of the Emirates Cup. If this was like a normal NBA day, yeah, Washington would be a lot more than live. But if you look at the Emirates Cup standings, like, crazy enough to say, like, Chicago's not out of this, of the Emirates Cup right now. Like, they're sitting at 1-1, which is third. So the Hawks are 2-1 from beating the Celtics that first night. The Celtics are 2-1 as well. And if the Bulls win this game, they'll be 2-1, tied with basically everybody else at the top of the leaderboard. And then the last game that they play will be against Boston, which will actually have meaning of Boston versus Chicago, whoever wins that, will probably more than likely win this group on Friday night. So I think look ahead spot wise, it's got to be Chicago. Chicago's actually playing for something.
Right. This is like the friggin' max standings in football. Yeah, no, look, the more you all talk about it, the more I'm thinking maybe a play on Chicago. Maybe I'll live bet it, but pregame, I'm going to pass. And Brizzy expects Zach LaVine to have a really good game. All right, let's move on, Brizzy. Next game on the card. There's another one. This is an interesting one, right? Milwaukee, Miami. Miami, a small home favorite, relatively low total, in the low 220s. And Milwaukee playing a lot better now, right? They've won 6 of 7. They've covered 2 of 3. They were very clearly screwing things up at the beginning of the year, but Lillard's now playing well, it seems. On the other side, though, Miami's, Jimmy Butler is now playing better, it seems, and I don't really want to fade either of these teams. I'd fade them with like an elite team that's rolling in a good spot, but going up against each other, I don't know. Really don't want to fade either one of these guys, either one of these teams. Once again, my note on this is, geez, I don't quite know here either. What do you think, Briz? You got anything on this one?
Yeah, this is grading out as like, I gotta sit with this one just a little bit more because where I'm at right now and where I'm supposed to be going to the window with, it's always never warm and fuzzy. But Milwaukee's had a rough start to the season, but they picked up some wins, winning 6 out of their last 7, 4-game win streak coming into this game. During this win streak, they've scored at least 122 points in 3 games. I mean, they're lighting up the scoreboard in these games, despite being 1-6 on the road. I like the spot for Milwaukee. They're one of the rare teams that do not have to play tomorrow, and they're not on the front end of a back-to-back. Coming off the OT win in their last game for Miami, as they picked up 2 straight home wins in their last game. But they have this is the last game of their homestand. They play in Charlotte tomorrow. While that doesn't really mean too much, it's really more the standings. If we can pull up the standings again, they're 1-1. Detroit sitting at the top, tied with Milwaukee at 2-0, with the last meeting for Milwaukee and Detroit being against each other. This is the last game that the Heat have a chance to move up in the standings. Basically, if they win this game, it would be a 3-way tie between the teams in first place. But if they did lose this game, then that Bucks-Pistons game on Friday night becomes a prime time. Everybody's got to tune in who's going to the in-season tournament, because you could say the good teams don't care, but the Bucks started off so slow that they have to care about every game. These two teams don't like each other. It's a TNT game. I think it's going to be a bloodbath, despite the over trends, as 9 in the last 10 games between these two teams have gone over the total. I actually lean towards the under here in this spot for the full game, and more first half under as well. So my leans would be for a total would be first half under, but I really like the Milwaukee Bucks here at plus money. I don't get how they're dogs in this game. They're one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now.
Well, and the comments are addressing exactly that. Yep, Justin McElwee, Bucks plus 2.5, Jermaine 34. I think Buckaroos win here. Joseph Gomez says line says Miami, basically echoing everything you're saying and saying that because they're a dog, that's telling you Miami is the side. Saturated says Giannis will get up for this one. And what do you think about this comment? Just in general, Billy Brisbane, if you would just comment on this one for just give me your 10-second take on this. Where is that comment? Jesus, I can't find it. He's saying that, Billy Friedrich, the good teams could care less about the cup. The terrible teams do care. Agree or disagree, Billy Brisbane?
Semi-disagree.
Counterpoint here at Pub Sports Radio. Tell us why, Brizzy.
Because when you look at some of these standings in the Emirates Cup, it is not what you thought the standings would be before the season started to where it's at this deep into pool play games is not what the public thinks. I mean, look at Group A, East Group B right now. Milwaukee's about to be – there could be a potential 3-way tie between the Bucks, Heat, and Pistons. That's wild.
Yeah. This is really tough. Saturated says they all like money. Andrew G. Lakers care about the cup because they know they can't win the real thing. And Billy Friedrich expecting he's talking about the NBA in general. All right.
When you talk about the teams like the Celtics, the Celtics, it kind of makes sense of why they don't give a fuck about the cup, because, I mean, that's asking a lot. Do a championship to the summer. Half of them played in the freaking Olympics. Then they did their preseason in Abu Dhabi. There's one team that probably doesn't want to go to Vegas in the middle of the year. It's probably the Boston Celtics.
Right, and that's exactly what Billy Friedrich is saying. He's saying Lakers and Bucks have no shot at the actual championship, so they do care. All right, yeah.
Seeing people in the chat talking about Tyler Hero. Man, when me and Pete were here, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Tyler Hero lit up the scoreboard. He had a season career high against the Suns. And when you look at the Bucks, they've been getting torched by guards this year. LaMelo's had a 50-point game. Cunningham had a 35-point game. Tyler Hero is playing in his hometown tonight. So he'll probably be more than inspired.
Okay. That was a very interesting breakdown. We got strong opinions on both sides. Once again, I personally am going to pass. Let's move to the next game, Houston, Minnesota. Houston, I've had a relatively good read on this year. They lost big in the Portland rematch as a double-digit favorite. That was a second consecutive game against Portland. Before that, though, they had been covering. They had covered 7 straight, and I was on them in a bunch of those. They've been a good bet all year for the most part. Minnesota played Boston their last game. They lost but covered, and before that, they had not been doing well. ATS. So my thought here is first half and or full game. I'm leaning Houston. Haven't pulled the trigger on it because I want to hear the in-depth analysis from everyone in the comment section. Of course, you, Billy Brisbane. I'm thinking Houston as a dog. What do you think?
I didn't mean to say Hero hometown. I meant to say home court, because if you look at Hero's home and road splits, it's actually pretty interesting. The Rockets lead Group A. Houston's undefeated. Portland, Minnesota, and the Clippers are all tied at 1-1, and Sacramento's kind of out of it at 0-2. They come into this game with a loss to Portland, but that was a second end of a back-to-back homestand. They're still winners, 7 of their last 9 for the Rockets here, while Minnesota's losers of 5 of their last 7. But they played well in Boston, only losing by 2. No Conley in the lineup kind of opened up the pathway for one of my favorite rookies in this class, Rob Dillingham. He was like a new, fresher breath air coming off the bench. But this is a very pivotal Group A game because essentially Houston could lock up West A tonight with a win. And the Timberwolves would still, if the Timberwolves won, they would have a meeting against the Clippers on Friday night that would probably determine the destiny of the way this West Group A will go, because it's probably going to come down to win margins at that point if Minnesota won tonight and then they play the Clippers on Friday. But regardless of the fact, I like the matchup for Minnesota here. I feel like Gobert should be able to neutralize Sengun. This isn't a game where the Timberwolves will have to light up the scoreboard. Houston's the 5th worst shooting percentage in the league. Head-to-head wise, the Timberwolves have been beating the dog shit out of the Rockets. Head-to-head wise, the Timberwolves have beaten Houston 9 out of the last 10 meetings straight up and covered the last 4 out of 5 meetings in Minnesota. It's been a little rough stretch for Minnesota, but I like them to bounce back here tonight. It's a little bit contrarian of a play. I know a lot of the public's going to be on the Rockets today, but I like Minnesota here on their home court.
So you think Houston's the old public dog, right? The old that I'm falling right into, right?
Yeah, I like Minnesota here. This makes, for TV rating standings, it makes more sense of, you want the Rockets to lock up Group A, or do you want the games on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, to actually matter? And if the Timberwolves win this, then the game on Friday, that's primetime television against the Clippers, probably fucking matters.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I was thinking under, first half under. The line has crashed from 222 to 219.5, but Billy Friedrich saying full game over for me.
Action Jackson
couldn't disagree more, Brizzy. So Action Jackson, I guess, likes Houston here.
Yeah. What do I think about the total? I think it goes under, because I think Minnesota wins this game, and the games that Minnesota are winning, they're not just scoring like 125, 30 points in these games. Like, Minnesota's winning these games because they're kind of like a little bit low scoring. So when Minnesota gets into these shootouts, is that they don't have enough firepower on offense. But there's one thing I'll say about the Rockets. I ain't scared of them motherfuckers on the road shooting. I mean, if they shoot lights out, then God forbid they shoot lights out. But I just don't see it for them tonight. I really don't. Let me look at the NBA referee assignments real quick, because
I was go ahead. Saturated was leaning first half under, and I was as well. I was also leaning Houston though.
All right, no Scott Foster on the slate today. That's good news. Yeah, but I would look into some of these crew chief refs for the NBA Cup tonight, because they're there for a reason.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I got to decide what I want to do here. I really want to, I was leaning Houston, like first half, not necessarily full game, and then maybe a halftime or live bet, depending on how the first half goes, leaning under in first half. All right. I'll add on a play for
say, like, things I like in that game: Minnesota spread, Houston team total under, and Anthony Edwards. I got to figure out the Anthony Edwards prop of, like, is he gonna keep on passing the ball? Is he gonna keep on shooting? But maybe pass on the Anthony Edwards prop and go Barrett rebounds or something like that. I don't know. This isn't the best prop game ever, though. I would just stay to the team totals and the spreads in this one. And I like the Minnesota spread and Rockets team total under.
Okay. Saturated says he's really liking the first half under. Houston plays first half defense. All right. I'm gonna go with it. It's a low ass first half total, but I guess it's a good sign that it's lower than 50% of the full game total. I'll take first half under.
Shouts to Saturated, though. We got to really, shouts to people in the chat. Saturated hit a $25 for a 1K 6-leg NBA parlay on a fucking Monday. And it's not even like money lines. It was like team totals, a couple of dog spreads, couple player props that he liked. It was basically everything that he liked on his card. He just mixed and matched it throughout the card. And he had a $25 ticket hit for a Bando, and he had a $50 ticket hit for $585. And he was this close. When I mean this close, a Denver Nuggets went away from smacking another fucking ticket when we were on stream last night. So shouts to Saturday. Shout out to Saturated. For me to guarantee you 6 NBA winners, you'd have to give me like 18 picks, and then I could pretty much guarantee you I could deliver 6 winners. Shout out to Saturated. Awesome call on all those. All right, I'm gonna take first half under 108 minus 109. Bunch of places have it's market wide 110. I see one place is 109, so I'm gonna take that. Houston, Minnesota first half under 108 minus 109. I was also leaning Houston first half spread like +2 or something, but I guess I'll hold off on that one for now. And let's move on. Next game on the card, Spurs, Utah, right? Spurs off of 3 very nice home wins and covers. Wemby's back, returned last game. Utah off a big, home win as a big home dog, and they've been okay ATS recently. I think it was last Tuesday when I kind of liked them against the Lakers ATS. I think they did cover that one. Spurs, of course, beat Utah 2 games ago in San Antonio. This could be a tricky one here. Utah as a home dog. And this is another one I was leaning under. Didn't have the balls to bet it. It was 227 when I saw it. I swear I haven't looked at the line. Let's see where it is. And right now, 226, slightly juiced to the under. So it's gone down about a point or a half point. I was leaning under. Makes me nervous to fade Utah here as a home dog. What do you think, Brizzy? Yeah, it's hard to ignore the recent form that the Spurs have been on in their last week. In my opinion, they look like one of the better teams in the NBA in the last week. Just the last week alone. You just got to take out the small sample size of the last week alone. And they're on a 3-game win streak heading this one. This is without Shohan and Vessel. The Jazz are still winless in group play. They're coming off a nice win over the Knicks, but they've gone with more size overall in their starting lineup, with starting Marketing, Collins, and Kessler in their lineup. Laurie's looked good since coming back from injury, 25+ in each of his 3 games played. This will be the 5th, if I'm not to be mistaken, this will be the 5th time already that these 2 teams have already played each other this season, with the Spurs leading the series 3-1 in those games. This just isn't my favorite spot on the card. Historically, looking at this, the Spurs are 1-5 straight up on the road, and they failed to cover a spread in 13 out of their last 15 road games. First the West following a win, and then on the front end of a back-to-back playing home versus the Lakers. While this is a cup game, it might be a look ahead spot for Wemby and AD on primetime tomorrow. I think the Spurs should win, but this line does feel trappy. I kind of like the player props in this one. When you first think about this game, you would think Chris Paul over 8.5 assists, as he's gone over his assist prop line 11 out of his last 17 games played this season. In the 3 games versus Utah, he's had 22, 20, and 13 potential assists. And the Jazz have allowed the 3rd most assists to the opposing point guards this season, and the 4th most assists just overall this year. So, AKA, Utah's defense is pretty trash. But in reality, the more and more I look at Chris Paul, I need to look the other way. It might be Stephon Castle season. He's been going the fuck off in this last week. he's like, everybody thought it was going to be like more of like a year 1, year 2, year 3 type of guy. He said, fuck that. The development is happening now. He's going over 20.5 PRA in 6 out of his last 10 games and 4 out of his last 5, with his minutes being increased. He's basically the starting shooting guard, and he's been passing the ball very well. I mean, his assist prop is only 3.5. When you look at Castle, when he played against the Jazz last week, he had 6 assists in that game on some comp shit. Like, it wasn't even like he was going crazy in that game. I don't know, man. I feel like Stephon Castle could like walk himself into a 20.5 PRA in this game. If you look at Bovada, I hate to say the word Bovada, but Bovada actually shockingly has the best line for Stephon Castle's assist prop. Them and ESPN Bet both have this is wild. That can't be right. If anybody could check Bovada, if Stephon Castle's assist prop is at 3.5 at plus 110, I'm loading up Bitcoin to the fucking website. But I think the rest of the market's at like, so like looking at the rest of the market, 115, minus 153, minus 140, minus 130, minus 153, minus 125, minus 160, minus 140, minus 140, minus 155, minus 127. Like, Stephon Castle is going to go over that assist prop today.
Yeah, Caesars, I'm seeing like 154. What do you think about the under in this one, Brizzy? 226.5.
I'm not betting the under. I'm not betting the total in this game. These two teams have seen each other too much.
Yeah. So that makes you not like either total.
Yeah, I who knows? Who knows what could happen? And this is one of those games like 5 times already, bro. We're not even like they're like the first month and a half of the season. Like that could either play into an under where these two teams know each other way too well, or it can lead to an over where you just know where the scoring is going to come from. Harrison Barnes has been snapping as well. I'm never in the Harrison Barnes community for betting this player prop overs, but I mean, goddamn, man, the dude keeps on going over 11.5 points in like the last week and a half straight. He and the rest of the role players are the real reason why the Spurs have been looking very, very good. Like him and Stephon Castle are just like you ever thought Wemby needed some running mates? Man, he's got some running mates this year, and it's showing in the Spurs' record. They're 9-8 right now. If the Spurs win this game, the Spurs are a prime example of a type of team that the play-in tournament wants to see. A team that probably won't go far in the playoffs or won't do shit in the playoffs, but they can subsequent 4 games in this play-in or this Emirates Cup tournament for them to get, more views. Wemby's a superstar, man. I mean, that's the Olympics. It was one of the most watched Olympics ever.
Yeah, Saturated says Jazz don't play defense. I wouldn't take that under. They are coming off a nice home win, though, so maybe that changes things up for them a little bit. I don't know. Would you agree with that? Jazz don't play defense. Don't take an under with them.
I'm not playing. I'm not betting.
Yeah, no, I already asked you that question. Sorry.
But it could be just one of those ones, right? I think one of the times I was on the show, I played a Jazz over on the total, and the Jazz just didn't score enough. It wasn't the other team. The other team got there. The other team got to the total that we needed. It was just the Jazz barely cracked 100 points.
I mean, 5 of their 7 home games have gone under. But if it was anyone else in the comments section, I'd be like, I'm trusting myself. I'm going to go take a shot with the under. But Saturated, hitting all those parlays and this and that, telling me I wouldn't take that under. Okay, consider it not taken. Saturated, shout out to you. Maybe I'll tail you on that Castle assist prop over 3.5, even though it's a little juicy. All right, let's move on. Brizzy, last game on the card, Lakers-Phoenix, right? Lakers got blown out at home in their last game off of 2 losses. Of course, before that, they had been winning. Phoenix off for a long time, and, Durant and Beal back for this one. Phoenix is a small favorite here. I'll check to see. It was 4 when I first saw it. We'll see where the line has moved in the total of about 233 or so. Man, I don't know. I don't really want to fade the Lakers here. Don't really want to fade Phoenix, though, of course, with Phoenix was horrible when Durant and Beal went down. And now that they're back, who knows how much of a boost that's going to give. Someone does. I certainly don't. What do you think? Lakers, a dog here at Phoenix. What do you think, Brizzy?
Yeah, the Suns will be happy to have KD back in the lineup as they lost 5 straight games, coming off their worst season performance of the year. I mean, they allowed 138 points to the Knicks. That game wasn't even competitive. The Lakers have lost their last 2 on the road after a 5-game win streak that they had. They might enjoy this back-to-back with 2 road games, though, get out of the city of Los Angeles. The series is split so far, with LA winning the first game 123-116, but that was kind of a bullshit-ass game. Like, the referees were kind of drawing in that game. They gave the Lakers way too many free throws in that game. So in that game 2, when it was in Phoenix and they didn't have the same benefit of the whistle, Phoenix won 109-105. I had a Lakers team total under in that game too, and man, that was a sweat. I hate betting. Like, team totals are the way to go in NBA, but man, sweating them out sometimes is just it's just the worst. It's like one of the worst bets I hate to sweat out as a team total. The Lakers seem hungry, though, to get back inside this in-season tournament position that we haven't seen the same from Phoenix, man. They had this problem last year, just turn it on and turn it off. From night in to night out, bro. That's not how the NBA works. They're paying the price for it in the last couple of weeks with KD back. I don't think it's going to be enough to stop AD, LeBron, and company. AD scored 35 and 29 points in their first couple meetings of the season. That's the X factor here. Phoenix's lack of interior presence. Nurkic is a serviceable starter, but he's not going to be enough to contain AD. All things considering, this line doesn't make sense. I would actually line the Lakers as a favorite here.
No shit. A favorite? Are you for real? Well, the line has moved. It was 4 when I saw it last night. Now it's down to 2.5, slightly juiced to the Lakers. So a very significant market move in favor of the Lakers so far. We'll see where it closes. And you would make them pick them or a favorite.
Yeah, like I think the wrong team's favored in this game.
Wow. Holy crap.
It's just like the Lakers are not a bad team, but it's just like, what have the Suns done in the last week to like make me think I want to put any money on them? The last time that they played against the Lakers at the crib was like a smash spot. Like we were all over it, but this one does not feel the same. But the only thing that would scare me off would be the market. I mean, 79% of the bets, 75% of the handle is on the LA Lakers. When you look at the money line, it's kind of like flip-flopped a little bit, but I would expect the Lakers to be the public dog of the day, which is never the position I want to be in for sports.
But it has moved in their favor, though. The line's moved in their. It's not going the other way.
Yeah, well, they're the public underdog of the day. I mean, like the bookies gotta let the public eat a little bit. I mean, if you bet that, I didn't bet a crazy amount of NBA games last night, but I can't imagine if you bet the NBA in the last week. Like, some of these results are just like random. The Brooklyn Nets winning 13.5-point dog outright. The Knicks blowing out the fucking Nuggets damn near by like 40 points, really 30. But some of these results are just kind of like fake news. Of like Dallas was down the whole entire game. They ended up winning by double digits last night. The Pelicans ended up backdoor covering that spread. Toronto ended up almost winning that game last night in OT. Like, some of these NBA results have just been really wonky to the point where I think it's going to revert back to the mean. You can see it in the spreads now. Of the biggest spread that we have today is the Chicago Bulls. Like, that's when you know the public is starting to get spooked out on the NBA, and everyone's like, I don't know what to do here. Nothing's guaranteed anymore in the association.
Pre-game, I feel very confused with a lot of NBA stuff. But then when I look at the market, and then during the game with live betting and second half stuff, some things do come through. Let me see. So Chosen One likes the Suns. Saturated says, I miss parlays too. LOL. Oh, okay. Well, that part of the story I didn't know. Maybe I will take the under in the Spurs game. Texas Styles, scared of unders on the cup games. Having said that, he still likes under in Utah and the Spurs. Someone also earlier said that Irish King 97, Bulls -4.5, easy. And saturated point differential bit me in these games. Grant and Beal back. I feel you. All right, you know what? Whatever. Okay, now that I know that.
College. I got a couple college games that I wanted to go over with you.
Yes, we can talk college. Let's quickly wrap up NBA, then we can talk college. You know what? Now that Saturated has let me know that he does sometimes lose parlays. What the hell? I'll throw in Spurs Utah under 226.5 -107 as an official play. Maybe it'll cash, and I'll shock the world with a -107 winner there. Spurs Utah under 226.5 -107. We'll see. Could lose. I'll make it up with the Castle over assist prop. All right, so let's just wrap up NBA, and then we'll talk a little college basketball. Brizzy, I took Houston, Minnesota first half under 108, minus 109. I kind of like that one. And then Spurs, Utah under 226.5, minus 107. I might shock the world and get a winner there. Those are my only 2 official plays in the NBA. Brizzy, do you mind reviewing your official plays and your thoughts on the card?
Well, official plays will be over on X after we get a fucking confirmed injury news report. But as of right now, I would say I like the Bulls on the spread, Bucks money line. What's the next one? Houston team total under. Stephon Castle props. And the Lakers team total over.
Okay. Sounds good, Billy Brisbane. All right, we got a massive college basketball card. Games going on all day. Many of them in neutral sites in Hawaii and Vegas, Cayman Islands, all over the place, and some home games. We got a whole bunch of marquee matchups. Billy Brisbane, tell us anything you want to tell us about today's college basketball card.
Yeah, I just want to go over a couple of these games real quick. That Penn State Clemson game at 4:00. That's on the CBS network. That one's in Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm looking at the over in that game. I don't blame you for taking the Penn State side, but it just feels like a very generous line considering the way that Penn State's pace of play is. They're one of the faster teams in the whole entire country. And if you look at Clemson is like a team that just kind of plays to the other team's style, I would say. Right. Like if you look at the Boise game that they played earlier this year, that's like them and Eastern Kentucky are like the only 2 teams that are like really like fast-paced teams. And then they played Radford in San Francisco, and those games kind of just went dead under because they just blew them out. But I think Clemson's going to be more than comfortable to get up and down in transition in this game. If you look at the total at 150, that total opened up at 150.5. That total is going up towards 153.5 some places, and you can still get it at 152. I do like the over in that game. The next game that I like, this is just a personal lean for me, Texas A&M over Oregon. Games at 4:30. This is the Las Vegas, Nevada tournament in MGM Grand Arena with all the NIL deal games and stuff like that. So basically, to pay off some of these NIL deals, players are going to have to play a little bit. And this is the tournament that they're basically making their NIL money in. Like if you could see some of the purses for this game, it's absolutely ridiculous of how much these players are getting paid to play in this tournament. But I do like Texas A&M here. Texas A&M, they've been kind of like somewhat not battle tested, but this isn't the first time that they're playing a good team this year. Like they played UCF, they played Ohio State already. When you look at Oregon, like their hardest games have been like fucking Portland and Oregon State. Like, I don't know. It just feels like Oregon's first time going to Las Vegas. Granted, Texas isn't Las Vegas, but I feel like A&M Aggies are being way undervalued here. This line should be 5.5, 6 in my opinion. And then the other game I was looking at, mid-major special, it was Grand Canyon versus Stanford.
Now I want to hear what you have to say about this one, Brizzy.
California game. And this, no bullshit, is like when you ask why we didn't have a bunch of NBA plays today, because this is the best bet of the card today. I know Tyon Grant Foster's gotten off to a slow start, but man, oh man, do I love Grand Canyon on the money line today. Man, wow. Grand Canyon's going to come out here, and they're going to put some boots to ass, man. I think this offense is going to get going here in this game. A lot of people have been shitting on Grand Canyon. They lost that game against Arizona State, and then they followed it up with a loss at home against UC San Diego. So I think that this is the game that they finally get the good things right back on going. And this is way too much value for my Grand Canyon team here. I think the Lopes are going to put some boots to ass in this one. And then the other game was.
Wait, let me just ask you a few things just about this one, because this is a very interesting game, right? Because Grand Canyon, 0-5 ATS on the year. I'm sure you're aware of that. Stanford has covered every game on the year, except for the Norfolk State game. They were 21-point favorite or whatever, and they won by 7. So they've been a double-digit favorite and mostly been covering, blowing teams out. Then their first competitive game, they were, it was roughly a pick'em game on the road. They got to win. So Stanford is clearly not the kind of team I think that we'd want to be fading. So this is a big buy low spot on Grand Canyon, in your opinion, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you got to remember their best player, Tyon Grant Foster, that was supposed to go to the NBA draft. Quick little synopsis story about him. He went to Kansas like 3-4 years ago, and he had a heart problem, which made him basically retire from basketball for about 1.5 years. And then when he came back last year, Grand Canyon threw him a fucking bag for NIL money. And he said, you know what? I'm staying in college extra year. And he played last year and he came back for this year. And his first game was the Arizona State game. And when you look at the roster, Harrison has taken a step up. But, when you have the stud guy, it's going to take them a game or two to kind of get back to normal of like, he's shooting the ball 20 to 25 times a game. Everybody's got to adjust to that a little bit more. And I think that the adjustment has been made against Norfolk State. Granted, it's Norfolk State, but I think they're going to get right in this game. Like, this is one of my favorite bets of the whole entire card today.
Wow. I might tell you there. I was thinking, looking at it, I was like, there's something I'm not getting here because the line didn't make sense to me. Now it's Grand Canyon has been even a little bit more of a favorite. They're about a -120 favorite over Stanford. Great breakdown, Billy Brisbane. All right. Now what else would you like to discuss?
Yeah, I like Kansas over Duke tonight, 9:00 game. That's the second game of the Las Vegas tournament. Kansas getting points is wild. Like I bet Duke against Arizona on Friday. That was just a good spot for them. But if you talk about size, speed, and athleticism, there's another team in the country that can match it. It's fucking Kansas. Kansas is going to go out there and I think they're going to win this one, man. It's going to be a sweat. It's going to be a back-and-forth battle, but this is the game to watch of the day is going to be Duke versus Kansas, and I think Kansas comes out on top.
Yeah, getting points. It was 2.5, then it went up to 3.5. Now it's back to 3. But yeah, when you're talking about teams of this caliber on a neutral site, that's a little bit of it. That's a little disrespectful.
Yeah, we got 18 and 19-year-old kids playing against 23 and 24-year-old kids. Give me the 23 and 24-year-old roster of Kansas.
Yeah, getting points. So why? I guess it's just hype that Duke is a favorite. They had a nice win against that. I guess recency.
They just beat Arizona on national television on Friday night that everybody bet them. Like, everyone's going to be like, oh, we love Duke, blah, blah, blah. But, Duke's going to get that ass book tonight. They're going to get a little learning lesson tonight.
Yeah,
well,
Kansas,
Well, Pete, while we do this, let's
huge
bring
favorite.
on our guy. Let's bring on our guy, Dabby Cab, to get his input on this as well. Hello, Dabby. Nice to see you. There we go. Big game here tonight from the game.
Dabby, I guess we're jumping right into college basketball right now. Turn your Brizzy has given, which makes a lot. A lot of these games I was have vague opinions on, but I want to hear what everyone has to say, and this is exactly why. Obviously, huge high profile win for Duke last game, and Kansas. People looking at the ATS results, bunch of big favorite lines where they lost ATS. The UNC game, they were blowing them out. Then UNC came back and they lost that one ATS. They won and covered against Michigan State, but didn't blow them out. So I can totally understand why, at first glance, some people might be down on Kansas. Maybe Kansas +3 is a great bet, or on the money line. Would you agree with that, Dabby?
This is a game, Pete, where a lot of people know if. Now, I have not bet this one, but I'd just take the plus points in the first half with Kansas. I know, I know that everybody loves the full game bet, and I get it, but if you like Kansas here, I can't tell you how often games go into halftime tied. I say it all the time. You look at the Memphis game yesterday, went into halftime tied against UConn, right? 40-40. It happens all the time. I'd take Kansas early. Billy touched on it. This Kansas team, you can be down on them all you want. They're still the number one team in the nation, right? And I get the people betting on them might be down on them a little bit, but those kids don't care about people betting on them. They know that they're still number one. They're deep. That's the biggest thing about Kansas. They did not have any depth last year. This year, they have depth. Coming off the bench, they have players, that are, whether you're talking about store or fucking, almost as good as.
Look at AJ Storr last year, Dabby Cab. AJ Storr is the main reason why Wisconsin went that far. He was the leading scorer in Wisconsin. Probably he broke Wisconsin's record for Big Ten tournament points scored in the tournament just alone. So like AJ Storr's coming off the bench for Kansas this year. Like that's wild.
That's exactly.
Zeke
I
Mayo
like
was one of the best mid-major players last year at South Dakota State. He was like top 10 in points per scored per game last year. He's like their starting shooting guard. Like this Kansas roster is way deeper than what it was last year. I so totally agree. Like Johnny Furphy was like their star player last year, and Furphy's not a star.
And age too. You said it. You touched on it at the top, like age, right? A lot of these. Now you've still got some players like Proctor, Tyrese Proctor with Duke. Some players that have some experience, but your leading guy obviously is Flagg. We all know that. The age, there's just experience. Whether you're talking about Dickinson or Harris or Adams, like these players have been around. Like these are old veteran players going against younger players. I would take Kansas first half. I might do it. I just haven't yet.
And you're giving them points or live as well, or second half if they're down. I'm not going to make this an official play, but you guys have convinced me. That was an awesome break
for you though, Dabby. What'd you think about that Rutgers and Notre Dame game, the last game in Las Vegas? That seems like the game circled for NBA pro scouts tonight.
Shoot, you said this was the game. For me, the game of the day is the Auburn-Houston game. Or excuse me, Alabama-Houston.
Yeah, but where are you getting edge in that game? There's no edge.
I mean, I feel like it's just you just keep taking Houston first half. I don't think you have to get cute with it. Here's the thing: if you're not hip on Houston first half, you're 3 years late, right? I think they've covered it every game this year. I think they've covered it every game this year. Even the loss that they had against Auburn earlier in the season, they covered first half. I know because I was on Houston first half against Auburn. So, I mean, fuck it, man. I'm taking Houston first half here again. And since Jose just went ahead and put up the graphic, I'll go ahead and touch on it. This Houston team, one thing you can say about them in years past is they've struggled offensively. Their defense has always been stellar, but they've struggled offensively. And this year, they're not struggling offensively. Right now they're hitting 50% of their threes, 46.8% of their shots as a team. It's nice to get to see Tuglar coming back. He had a big game last game for him. He hurt his foot last year and was out for the whole year. But whether you're talking about him or Arsenex or Sharp, they got players across the board. Obviously, LJ Cryer. They got players that I trust to score points finally. And I have not trusted this Houston team in years past to score. Finally, I trust them to score. And then you flip on the other side with Auburn. Or why do I keep saying Auburn? Alabama here. Obviously still got great players with Sears and Grant Nelson and some of these guys that you saw last year, but I do not trust Grant Nelson with the ball in his hands against this Houston defense. I just don't. This is an Alabama team that's prone to turnovers, and this is a Houston team that forces them aggressively. And I think at the beginning of the game, Alabama's going to be knocked off a little bit. It would be one thing if Alabama was, if Houston was undefeated coming into this game. Both of these teams have already taken a loss, though. When you got your number 6 and your number 9 team both with already taken a loss, everybody's head's going to be on a swivel. This game's going to be played intense and on the boards. Second chances are going to be important. I think the Cougars get it. I like Houston here first half. And this is an official bet for me. Houston first half -1.5. It's in Vegas, whoever was asking where it is.
I love it. My Dabby Cab Houston first half story, Pupapalooza 1. I was sleeping in the studio, getting my naps in. Abby woke me up with a dab and said, "We are going to the Final Four game. You need to get off the full game spread and bet the first half."
Bro, I remember that.
Nice to meet you. I said, well, you know what? I'm fucking tailing. We got in the fucking car, literally got in the car, went to the game, cashed the first half, and we dipped. We left. We had tickets to the fucking Final Four, and we dipped after the first half because we were like, what the fuck are we watching the rest of this game for? We already just made fucking $300 off the first half. We're out. Like, we're going.
Gokster tail too. I remember that, man. That, like I said, you're 3 years late on Houston first half. Good news is they're still covering it, Pete. So if you haven't been betting it, you don't got to cap it. You can just buy. And if they don't cash it today, you're okay. You just bet it next game, and then the next game, and then the game after that, and so on and so on.
Meantime, shout out to Justin McElvey, I believe it was, who liked Eastern Kentucky getting 4.5 points. They're up 21-4 right now. I'm seeing huge shout out to Justin McElvey. I laid off that one. All right. I'll probably look at tailing you, and I'll definitely be looking at this game live again and for second half stuff. All right, Brizzy, do you want to stick around for college hoops, or do you got to go, or what are we doing here? Brizzy?
He said he's absolutely down to stay around.
I'm here.
All right. Is there any other game you want to bring up now?
I'm always appreciative to talk Dabby Cab and basketball whenever it pops off. If anything, I'm interested to hear Dabby's thoughts on some of these games because he was on Memphis yesterday. Now Memphis is going into Maui Invitational Day 2 playing Michigan State here. This was one that, man, historically, I've made good money fading the fuck out of Memphis, but is this too easy of betting Michigan State?
I'm on Memphis again, but here's the deal. I've been on Memphis. Okay. Memphis is 5-0, obviously straight up, and they're 5-0 ATS. Now, full transparency, I've taken a loss Memphis first half. Yesterday was the first game that they covered first half. And I'm glad they did, because I said it when I broke that game down. I said, Memphis will not be able to come back from being down 14 or 10 points like they did. A couple of these games, whether the Missouri game, they were down 14, the UNLV game, they were down 10. I think they were even down in the San Francisco game at one point. I'm not sure about that one, but they've been playing from behind. Yesterday, they didn't do that. Now, they did have a 13-point lead that they blew with, 3 minutes left in the basketball game. UConn brought it back. And Haggerty fouled out of the game for Memphis. So I was like, oh, shit, I'm about to lose this +9 that I have in overtime. Deadass, that's what I thought when UConn took it to overtime. But Memphis showed resiliency, man. Being able to win that game, even though you blew that 13-point lead, that's resilient.
That win.
Bob
Hurley literally called the ref a fucking retard with 45 seconds left.
Yeah, Tom Hurley.
That was a 4-point swing that kind of ruined the game. Like, they got the 2 shots from the offensive foul from Liam McNeely, and they got the 2 shots from the Bob Hurley calling. Who calls a ref a fucking retard, bro? Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Bro,
like,
here's the deal. Yes, at that point in time, that lost the game, but the technical foul that they called just before that, where they gave the double tech on Memphis. That was a bullshit. That should have been a technical foul on UConn. It should not have been a double tech. So I don't want to say it made it right, but bad calls all around, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I've never seen a college basketball coach that had to get held by his whole entire staff to not storm the court to fucking swing at a ref. Like, are you the player or the coach?
Hey, are we getting – I should check this. People look at the NBA. Are we getting the same refs? I mean, it's the same tournament in Maui, so I think probably are. These guys love to blow the whistle, man. All day yesterday in the games. Holy shit, they wouldn't stop. Even in the first half. A lot of times in college basketball, you get through that first half with the refs letting the kids play, and then in that second half, the whistle starts coming out. Man, it was the whole game, every game for all of these games yesterday, not just this Memphis game. But back on this one, this Memphis team, I have said it now, they probably are no longer undervalued. They just beat the number 2 team in the nation. But I have been saying all year, this team is undervalued. Whether you're talking about Tyrese Hunter, the transfer from Texas, or PJ Haggerty, these guys can ball, okay? Memphis has a couple guys that I trust with the ball in their hand against anyone at any point in time during the basketball game. And that is what you need in college basketball. It's almost like a quarterback in college football, right? If you got a quarterback that can go down and score at any time, you're always in the game. You've always got a chance. That's what you've got with PJ Haggerty. That's what you've got with Tyrese Hunter. I like this Memphis basketball team. Again, they might not be over or undervalued anymore. I get it. So I might be on the wrong side, but I'm making a lot of money when I back them here. So I'm doing it again at plus money today. Plus 106 or plus 110, I think, is the best you can get right now. And that's where I'm at with Memphis.
I like the analysis, man, because I feel like everybody and their mom is going to be on Michigan State today. But in reality, Memphis has the talent of every other team in the country. It's just them putting it all together for 40 minutes in a basketball game is always not a guarantee, but they've been doing it this year. It seems like Penny's finally able to take this step up in competition. And when Memphis takes that step up in competition, they usually play to their level of their opponents. And when they play good teams in the country, they're going to look like one of the better teams in the country. But when they play in their fucking tournament games next month or their conference play, they'll probably drop a couple of those games to like UAB and shit like that as like 9.5
teams they shouldn't. But you just touched on competition, man. UNLV, right? They've already played them. They've already played San Francisco. Obviously, they just played UConn yesterday. They've already played Missouri.
Yeah, they started off.
They're not playing cupcakes right now to get to that 5-0. You know what I mean? Not at all. All four of those teams that I just named are not
Shit,
easy.
even Ohio is going to be good. Not good, but they're going to be at top of their conference in the MAC. So, like, yeah, no, you're definitely right. Of like, Memphis is not shy of anybody that they're playing against right now, and they're rolling right now. I mean, if you would have told me that Memphis would be in the semifinals of a fucking Maui Invitational before the season has started, I'd say go get your Memphis future tickets in as well, right?
I'm just saying, look at Memphis, right? Hey, that's not a bad idea for a future ticket with Memphis. I'm very high on this basketball team, and I'm excited to see if they can win this one. It'll be interesting to see the next round too. So,
yeah, I wonder what the odds are for Memphis to win the Maui.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just thinking. So, I'm obviously thinking Auburn's the favorite to win it. Memphis probably is third or fourth in line on the odds. I don't know.
I'm looking it up right now. Feast week.
Meantime, Skunt Blaster, who I believe is the person who gave us a Central Michigan and football money line last week, which cashed. Play of the day, number 2, Michigan State money line -125. Skunt Blaster, play of the day.
Play of the day for Skunt, but Dabby, the Maui future odds. Memphis is +650 to win the Maui. That's wild.
Yeah, I like that. I don't hate that at all. But I mean, I got
Memphis. If you're betting Memphis today, instead of going like a full unit, I'd go like 0.75 of a unit and just put a little quarter sprinkle on that +650 because they beat Michigan State. I mean, goddamn, man. I mean, what a $50 bill would bring you back almost $400 if Memphis could win the Maui. I mean, you could probably make back that $50 that you spent on this game today if they can win.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, MMA Locker Room likes Memphis money line. Jeez. All right, so are you guys prepared for every game? Should we shout out another one of the big games? Have we talked about?
Go to the A&M Oregon one since Billy already touched on it. I'll touch on it.
I think Billy's probably totally right. Texas A&M worth a nice solid shot there.
Now I will say this: shout out to our guy Stacks. Justin and I text our bets and stuff back and forth. He texted me early. He is on Oregon here. Oregon 5-0. Coming off the win against Oregon State, which I guess is a rivalry, but Oregon State's not a good basketball team, and Oregon only won that by 3 points. Really hasn't been tested here. And A&M, UCF was a bad loss, but UCF is not a bad basketball team, and A&M really could have won that basketball game. They had a comfortable lead both halves. They had a comfortable lead in the first half and in the second half, and just kind of pissed them away. And then came back home and got that big win over Ohio State. They were like 6.5-point favorites, still covered that spread. This is a team that's going to get second chance opportunities, right? I've touched on it. They have pretty much everyone back from last season. And last season, they were either the number 1 or the number 2 rebounding team in the country. I think right now they're like number 4 or number 5. You have to fact check me on that, but it's very close. These guys are going to get second chances. And I don't know how much Oregon's going to be able to compete on the glass. Now, I do know that whether you're talking about our guy Shellstead, shout out to him, number 3. Now, I know he's only averaging 8.8 points per game this season for Oregon, but if you look at him, 29.8 minutes per game, he's the highest. He is their facilitator. And if you watched him last year in the tournament, I was very high on Oregon in the tournament last year. He made me some money. He was balling last year. Watching him versus Wade Taylor is going to be a treat in this basketball game. Both of those guys are electric, at the top of the court, dishing the ball, handling it out. I just think A&M has the advantage here on the boards, and second chance opportunities are so damn important in college basketball. Have not bet it, but I lean A&M. When I bet A&M, I take them first half for a reason. This isn't just a first half thing. It's because the way Buzz Williams switches his defense up early. Teams really struggle with Buzz Williams' defense early in basketball games. He's constantly shifting it. It's kind of the same thing with Sampson at Houston, why I really like him first half. A&M first half is a great bet, and it's made me a lot of money the last few years, and I might bet it here today.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you do just do this to yourself, maybe if you guys are sitting in the chat, If you look up any article for Oregon, Texas A&M today, any article for a prediction website,
Oregon, right?
All going to tell you Oregon. Yeah,
All of them.
there has not been an article in the last 45 seconds to a minute that I've clicked on that didn't pick Oregon as a prediction.
It's funny how that works, man.
And those are always the losers. Man. Jimmy,
I'm just saying it's funny how those are the people that take all that time to write them just to fucking lose. I couldn't imagine. Like, it's one thing getting up here talking about it with you guys and then losing. It's another thing, bro. If I wrote a whole fucking 2 pages just for that shit to lose.
No, like, bro, no bullshit. I'm looking at every website right now. Action Network, Pick Dogs, Covers, Winner and Winers, Pickwise, BetMGM, Atun Zoo, Sports Illustrated, CBS Sports, all have Oregon winning this game.
Are you for real?
I swear to God.
True, then you gotta take it.
Oh, and this is the Nutflush Allen special. this is what he tells us to do. You know, this is like they don't come around that often, but when they come, pound them.
Nah, this is the reason why sometimes you can't lock in action so early on in the day, because damn, man, if this is the case, like, might be going down to AC and bet Texas A&M today.
Wow.
That's funny. I heard the complete opposite. I'm just reading off the first 8 Google articles that I clicked for Oregon, Texas A&M prediction. All have Oregon.
Wow. Jeez. This freaking the chat and the video really helps me out. I think Grand Canyon, great play, probably. Texas A&M, very nice play. Kansas, probably very nice play. None of these locks, but I think they're all. Go ahead.
What about the North Carolina game? We probably don't have a graphic for that one because I didn't send it to Jose, but I actually did bet it.
All right, let us know. You know, UNC is a again, getting a bunch of baskets, neutral spot. First glance, you'd think, why not? But then again, maybe UNC is a public dog that you want to stay off of. Let me just quickly check where the line is. Before it was UNC by getting 4 points, and now, wow, 4.5. Some places have 5.
Crazy. Both these teams coming off a, hell of a fight for a basketball game, right? Both of them probably should have and could have lost. The only difference is, and I'm not trying to take anything from Dayton, not a bad basketball team, right? The only difference is Auburn's game was against Iowa State, another top 10 college basketball team in the nation. But both of these teams, I think UNC was down by 18. I know Auburn was down by 18 or 20. Both of them probably should have lost yesterday and fought back and won. Neither needed overtime to do it, which is kind of cool to see also. Man, when I look at, the matchups in this game, and I was so impressed with Auburn yesterday. I was impressed with them against Houston, but damn, they impressed me when they came back. And they lost my money yesterday. It is very rare where I can lose, because I had 3.5 on Auburn and they won by 2. It is very rare when I can lose and still be like, tip my hat to a team. Usually if I lose my bet, I'm like, fucking lose the game. I want you to lose. I want you to roll your ankle on the way to the bus. I want bad things to happen to all of you because you lost my money. Yesterday, I could only tip my hat to Auburn for coming back. And really, they could have covered. They just didn't do it. They had a chance there at the end to cover, didn't do it. But, these guys like obviously Broom, right? Everybody knows Broom. I'm not going to touch on Broom because he was there last year doing the same thing down low. And I don't think North Carolina is going to have an answer for him. I think Broom is going to have a serious problem down low. But who really impressed me was Chad Baker-Mazzari yesterday. I hope he isn't too, hurt from whatever was going on yesterday. I think he was just tired. But damn, that kid was balling. Miles Kelly was playing. I think that Auburn has the guard play to keep up with North Carolina in this game, which is where North Carolina, excels, whether you're talking about RJ Davis or some of these other players. And if Auburn can keep up with North Carolina at the guard play, I'm not so sure North Carolina is going to keep up in the post with Auburn. I think Auburn's going to take the boards here. I went ahead and took Auburn first half in this game. So yeah, I bet this one off.
You're not lying, though. Broom has the highest rebound prop the whole entire card, second to Hunter Dickerson.
They can't, I've watched.
You're not bullshitting. Broom is projected to probably go 20 and 15 tonight.
What are they going to do? Look at this North Carolina team. I just don't know what they're going to do. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and then also just the card in general. this is the third highest just actual rebound prop, just in general, of just 10.5 juice towards the over. Like, you're not lying. Broome was probably going to smash in this game.
Hey, and we talk about teams being, deep. You want to see eight guys deep. Auburn had 10 guys on the court yesterday. 9 of them had double-digit minutes. That's crazy. This team's deep. And if you get somebody in foul trouble, they got somebody else that's going to come on the court and that's going to ball also.
Wow. Yeah, and I'll have a good edge in this game because I think Auburn is actually, no bullshit, really the best team in the country.
Auburn's the best team in college basketball, probably.
Yeah, you talk about coaching, players, roster, depth, best team in the country. But UNC did go out to Hawaii on Friday night going into the UFC stream, and I watched that game. And then last night was kind of like the little,
So do you think that's an advantage, UNC, or disadvantage? Because now they're playing their third game in how many days?
Yeah, but I also think it's an advantage for the total. Like, I just, when I look at this game, I just don't see how one of these two teams are going to hit 100 points.
Hopefully Auburn.
Extremely interesting breakdowns here. What game should we talk about next? We weren't really preparing for the whole card, but I'm prepped for it. What do you want to shout out a game? We can talk about it.
Whatever you guys want. I've hit the 3 bets that I've got so far, but whatever you guys want, I'm good to go.
Okay, I want to make sure we got. Go ahead.
Going back to the Penn State and Clemson Daytona Beach, Florida game. I was talking to Pete about the over. Pete liked the Penn State side, and I kind of agree with him on that. How do you feel about Clemson this year? They've had really good results, all things considering. You would think that they would take a step back with some of the seniors that they lost from that last year's team, but everyone else is like next man up, next man up. Does next man up count for them today, or do you think it all comes crashing down with Penn State?
And by the way, Clemson's now a favorite, so I might be on the wrong side there. We'll see where it closes, but Clemson now a favorite. Clear market move in favor of Clemson.
The market's moving in favor of Clemson?
Yeah.
I probably would just take points here. These guys are going to slug it out here. I just go over, right? Both
over, right?
Yeah, just over. I think you did say that too. I heard you say that. Okay, that's why that's ringing in the back of my head. It makes sense, man. I agreed with it when you said it. I just think, if you look at what Penn State's done, right? Penn State's going to put up points. It's just, can Clemson match them? And I think Clemson can. Their last game on Monday, Clemson's defense looked really, really good. But, this is just a different offense for Penn State here. And usually this Clemson team is offense first. I like the over, man. I like the over. If I look at the numbers in here, everything leads towards the over. Let's see. Where is it? I had something in here, a trend that I wanted to read, but I lost it. I don't know where I put it. Sorry, guys. I moved too much shit around on my computer.
Yeah, I'm sure that the power rankings, Clemson, got a big boost from their, from their big win over San Francisco, who almost beat Memphis, handled Boise outright by double digits.
The one thing I was noticing, Pete, is in this Daytona Beach, Florida games, the winning team is blowing out the mid-major team by so many fucking points that the game's not going over. But the teams that are winning are putting up very high totals. It would be interesting to see once the two good teams play against each other. Of like if you look at Clemson yesterday, they're up by like 30 points the whole entire game. They didn't really need to push the effort or push the gas too much. But if you look at Penn State, I mean, damn, they blew out Fordham by a lot yesterday. I mean, 85-66. God damn, like that's the only reason why that game went. It feels like a very modest total. Like if I had to line this as a total, it would probably be like 157.5, 158.
Hey, our guy Robert Franklin in the chat, and yeah, Kong, we'll recap for sure at the end of this. He said UNC first half, Auburn's got to be a little gassed. I get it, and obviously my bet could be wrong on Auburn first half, but my counter to that would be Auburn had 10 players. I touched on this earlier. 10 players that played in that game yesterday. 9 of them played double digits. Where you look at this UNC team, they only have 2 people coming off the bench, and those 2 people aren't playing a ton of minutes. So
I believe it's the third game in 4 nights, right?
And there you go. And it's their third game in 4 nights. So if you're asking me who should be more tired, according to what we just said, UNC should be gassed compared to Auburn. And UNC was down 18 points yesterday too. So even though Iowa State was, a better team than Dayton, it was still almost essentially the same basketball game.
Facts though. UNC even played the later game. That game ended at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
One of the mid-major finals today is in the Cayman Islands. South Dakota State has ended up kind of really. You thought Zeke Mayo going to Kansas was going to put them a step back. Nah, they're right here in the finals here against Missouri State. My model's telling me Missouri State's one of the better plays of the day, with them being plus money at home. Plus money against South Dakota State. Nobody's home for this one, but man, I just don't have a good read on this one. Why are they plus money against South Dakota State?
Let me see. Let me find my notes on that one.
It's a Cayman Islands 5 o'clock game. Flow College Sports Network. South Dakota State, Missouri State. I think this is the Cayman Islands semifinals or finals.
Which game?
Oh, this is the loser game. This is the loser game of the semifinals.
It looks like the line is moving a little bit as of right now. We'll see where it closes in South Dakota State's favor. Yeah. They're now a 2-point favorite. I mean, I passed on this one. South Dakota State has obviously had 3 straight, margin ATS wins. Pretty impressive. I was on Missouri State against Arlington when they played Arlington, so I had to win there, and Tulsa, but I passed on the other 2. Yeah, I don't know. This is a pass for me. Maybe a live bet for sure, or a halftime bet. But you think Missouri State is good as a dog here?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just popping up as like a value play on my card. I moved on it? No, but they're 5-0 straight up. They're 5-0 ATS this year, and 4-0 ATS as an underdog this year. So it's like grading out as like a really good play. Them and Tulane versus Wyoming. Tulane versus Wyoming is a Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya game. And Tulane is just coming off that loss against New Orleans as an 18-point favorite. And they're playing Wyoming. I'm high on the Tulane coach, but I don't know how high I am on their roster. But, I mean, the public seems to be high on them. 84% of the bets, 88% of the handle all coming in on Tulane. And that line's only minus 125.
Yeah, that line is one of the ones that didn't make sense to me. I didn't act on it, pull the trigger on it. I mean, Wyoming's had some nice results. It did seem like Tulane was, should not be nearly that small of a favorite, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. And hasn't moved much from last night. Let's look at the comment section. Let's see. Cap, did any of you guys, people were asking about the Belmont game. I did bet Belmont minus 1.5. I took them first half as well. If it loses, okay. I might do some live betting as well. When my pregame stuff is very modest, so that I can act mid game and live if I want to. But do either of you guys have any opinions on the Belmont game? You probably didn't look at it. Minor game.
It seems like a trap spot though. Belmont's 4-1. They looked really good this year. They're on a 3-game win streak coming into this tournament. I think this is the 3rd game at Hotel Riviera Maya tonight. I don't know what the fuck's up with LMU. Like LMU on the road is just always a fade, but man, like they haven't been the worst, I would say. I mean, like they only lost to the Billikens by 6 points, which is not the worst loss. Their last game was a home game loss against North Dakota, which is a red flag. And then the UC Irvine, them getting blown out at home versus UC Irvine is a red flag. So it makes me kind of want to bet Belmont. But, man, I mean, 98% of the bets, 99% of the handle. So that's AKA if anybody's betting on this game, they're betting Belmont.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, Belmont shoots a lot of threes, and when they're off in the first half, I will a lot of times bet them. I bet them second half against Furman and Oral Roberts. Both of those cashed. I didn't understand why the line was where it was, but that's one I did pull the trigger on. If it loses, okay.
I can be real quick because you guys know that I don't have it. But here's the thing. I'm going to keep it real for everyone, right? No, I have not watched Loyola Marymount or Belmont play basketball this year. I haven't fucking watched them. So that means I can look at 2 things. I can look at the market and I can look at the stats, right? If I'm just keeping it real, right? And if we're talking about statistically, obviously Belmont looks like a much better basketball team in every category, whether you look at the last games that they've played. Free throw shooting is a little off, but everything else, 3-point shooting, assists, turnover ratio, they just look like a better basketball team. Points per game, they put up more. So, yeah, I mean, but I would not bet a game where I haven't watched the kids play.
Yeah, and Belmont in particular is a team that I like to bet, live or at the half. So it's an interesting game. I do have a position on first half and full game. All right, let's. Are there any other games that people want to ask about? Let's see. Anything else you want? All right, so let me just quickly review all the opinions that you've given on the whole card. Here we go. Just scanning down here. Again, I'm on Hampton. I took them plus 11.5. Now it's down to 10. That goes off at 1:30. Let's see. I also took a shot with North Dakota -3. I don't know if that one has moved. We should talk about Colorado, Connecticut, if you guys have looked at that. The Penn State Clemson game, line is flipped to Clemson as the favorite, and Brizzy and Dabby thinking that the over at 153 might be a good bet there. Texas A&M -3.5 might be a real good play, although I think it's
Dabby made a good point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Dabby made a good point of the first half, though, about how Oregon hasn't really played. This is a big step up in competition for Oregon, considering their schedule so far. And usually when teams take a big step up in competition, it usually translates in the first half more than the full game. And with Dabby talking about the defense that Texas A&M runs, it definitely does pay off more in the first half than the full game. Like a lot of these games, these teams are starting to come back in the second half, but they do. I'm picking up what Dabby's putting down. And if you look at the spread in the first half, like the money line is not that far off in the first half from the full game. And I feel like Texas A&M first half is probably going to sneak my way onto my card.
Good. Thanks for clarifying that. Then there's Memphis and Michigan State, highly debated game. Skunk Blaster likes Michigan State play of the day, but a bunch of people liking Memphis. Dabby Cab and Brizzy talking about what a quality, high-character team Memphis is looking like right now. Scanning out. I also took Fairleigh Dickinson. I took FDU plus 7.5. We'll see. I don't know if that's a good bet or not. And again, Billy Brisbane told us he likes Grand Canyon a lot. It was 1. Now they're -2. So slight market move in Grand Canyon's favor. Billy Brisbane liking Grand Canyon quite a bit. Houston, Alabama game. Dabby Cab saying again, Houston first half -1.5 is a nice play. The Belmont game, I don't know. It's now up to -2. I took that one. Iowa State Dayton is interesting. I did take a shot with Dayton. Maybe that was a sucker play. We can talk about that if we want to, but I took a shot with Dayton. Duke, Kansas, we talked about it ad nauseum. I think I'm going to tell you guys, Kansas, maybe first half and full game, but full game, Kansas getting 3 and probably on the money line is a nice play. And the Auburn, North Carolina game, listen to you guys talk about it. Auburn, full game, spread, maybe money line. Over North Carolina. They're deep. Not a good spot for UNC. They played the late game. Auburn, and again, that line is headed up. It was 4, now it's up to 4.5. Some places 5. So clearly the market moving in Auburn's favor.
Yeah, third game in 4 nights for UNC as well.
Yeah, I'm on the first half on that one, just so you know. I got 1.5, and that's you can only get a 2 or a 2.5 now.
In the Auburn game, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But, if their depth is what will help them, then maybe full game is what you would want more. No?
Yeah, maybe. But I took the first half.
Okay. I feel you. All right. DC Capper says play it and win. Bookie Buster play of the day. Texas A&M -3. I will take a shot with that. Justin McAfee talking about UConn -8.5 first half. Yeah, I mean, they are off a loss. And so you got to figure that they're going to come back here and be at least a little bit pissed, I would assume, right? Colorado is a scrappy team, and they're getting a lot of points. That's a lot of points to be giving to a team like Colorado, but UConn, an elite team, off a loss. I was thinking about maybe the under on that one.
Yeah, I like the under
clamping down on defense. Go ahead.
I like the under in that, Pete. Like if you had to say like first like cap of that was team total under or the
Colorado
for Colorado / under. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't see a lot of points scored in that game. Like, I mean,
I agree with
we
that.
literally had to bring off Dan Hurley off the court because he was calling the ref a fucking retard and he was about to swing at him. Like,
I mean, even if the ref really is in 2024, you don't say it. You know,
you don't say it, bro. Like, you can literally verbally see him call the ref a fucking retard, and the assistant coach boxing out Hurley.
I mean, it's
to keep him
unbelievable.
off the court. Like, I gotta bet the under.
Like, let's say that the coach really was, and they asked me, "Do you think he really is one?" I'd be like, "No, seems normal to me."
What happens if Hurley doesn't get held off the court? Is he about to really swing at a ref in a Maui Invitational ESPN game? Like, and Dabby talked about it a minute prior to that. The center almost swung at the point guard of Memphis. It was like, that was the most, are we watching high school basketball or college basketball?
Man, yeah.
Hurley's story is going to end like Bob Knight's.
People are getting really testy here in 2024.
I like Bob Knight.
All right. Well, I think we've given out a bunch of plays. I'm probably gonna tail Grand Canyon. Definitely gonna tail Texas A&M at first half. Almost certainly gonna tail Auburn. Certainly gonna tail Kansas. Not gonna add any of those to my official slate of picks, though. I won't give any official slate of picks, but I'm gonna tail a bunch of that. And any last words on college basketball, Brizzy? You want to leave us with?
Yeah, make sure you guys don't go too crazy on this slate today, because for as good as the slate it is today, it gets better throughout the week.
Absolutely. Money management key. You don't want to ruin your bankroll and then see opportunities that you don't have bankroll money to bet on later on. Always remember that, especially in college basketball, because there's 100 million games, 100 million angles you can play. Got to be very, very careful. My bet size is, 0.5% of bankroll for these college basketball games. Dabby Cab, we covered everything in college basketball. Is there anything we missed, or do you want to move on?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm pulling up these two. I always got to remember. I forget that we got the Toledo game tonight too.
Yeah. All right. So if anyone is like, who gives a shit about Maction, the last week of Maction, you can just tune off now. Hit the like button, but you can tune off. We would understand. But Dabby Cab and I are going to talk about the two Maction games that are going tonight. They are kind of interesting, as always, because you got teams playing for something, maybe teams playing for nothing, playing for pride, all that stuff. Let's talk about it. First game, Toledo-Akron, right? So Toledo got beat down at home last week, and Akron, not good. They rolled Kent State last week. Kent State is horrible, though. Akron, a big home dog here. And Toledo, they have, they're going to get a bowl game. I guess they want to win for pride to get a better bowl assignment. But aside from that, they got nothing to play for. And Akron is scrappy. Now they had a big offense against Kent State last week. Toledo's defense, though, is significantly better. Akron does have one extra rest day. Toledo's on a short week, so not sure if maybe Toledo's defense, how much they will come in here and give 100% shot here. It's a judgment call. I was thinking that probably Akron getting all these points is the way to go. Now, the only other issue is that Toledo's starting quarterback, I believe, is maybe banged up, but the replacement is just as good or close to as good. So that's not great for a bet on Akron, because he'll be coming in, fully rested, fully motivated. And Akron does have a very vulnerable defense. But all things being equal, I would be looking at Toledo here. But because of the spot, short week, last game, Toledo has essentially nothing to play for. Akron at home, a bad team that's still scrapping towards the end. I'd be leaning Akron at getting 8 points. Dabby Cab, what do you think about this game, if anything?
Man, with the quarterback situation and the what kid they're playing for, I already had questions about this game. You raised more questions for me just now than I would have. I'd have to know the quarterback situation, even if the backup is supposed to play. I mean, Toledo's clearly, I guess, a better football team, but you said it, 8's a lot of points. I mean, especially on the road. I guess if you're betting Toledo, I'd say take it first half. That's probably what I would do if I was betting Toledo, because I wouldn't want to get backdoor covered here late. And then I don't even have a lean as far as the total goes. Honestly, 48.5 seems sharp. I can see it with it, 28-20 or 28-21. I can see either of those happening, and that's right where the line's at. So, no lean on the total.
Nutflush16 in the comment section asking about the Akron team total over. I'm seeing 20.5. And again, Toledo has an excellent MAC level defense, But again, the question is just, how much of a 100, how close to 100% of a defensive effort are they going to give?
You realize
here?
you just said their team total is 20. You said their team total is 20 and a half, and I just said I thought this game could be like 28-20 or 28-21.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's tough, of course. Yeah. First two comments coming in, of course, are opposed. Robert Franklin, Toledo -8. Jerry Davis says, I'm on Akron +8. Jerry Davis says Toledo has been shit for the last weeks and Akron playing well offensively. That is true. Don't forget, though, the last time Akron came out and played well offensively, it was on Kent State. So, you can only play who you're playing, but, Kent State is awful. And so, not exactly sure what to expect. But no, there's no question about it that Akron, this version of Akron right now, has a dynamic offense against defenses that will let them do it. Mid-season Toledo defense is not that, but maybe last game of the season on the road it is. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning Akron team total over as well, and that's what Nutflush Allen is hinting at as well. Yeah, that might be really good. Akron team total over. All right, maybe I will add that one as an official play. We'll see. And then the next game on the card is the Kent State game against Buffalo. Kent State winless, lost their last game ATS by a margin. This is their last game. It's just a program that's in shambles. And once again, the question is, how much will they try and how much will they mail it in? Because if they mail it in, they'll lose 48-0 or whatever. They are winless. So maybe they'll be like, let's try to not, even though they have no chance of winning this game, really, I'm assuming that they will mail it in. I was thinking maybe Kent State team total under, which is 13.5, which is, there can be backdoor stuff there as well. Buffalo has been playing better offensively, and Buffalo's also mathematically alive for the MAC title. It's a big long shot, but they technically still have a mathematical chance of getting to the MAC title game. So they do have that to play for. Yeah, Kent State is just terrible. So, the only way I could be thinking here is maybe, Buffalo or the Kent State team total under. Did you look at this one, Dabby?
I'm sure you remember this because we had it last Tuesday, and this was my opinion on Kent State last Tuesday. And I didn't bet it. I should have made money off of it because they didn't cover. But they're the worst team in college football. That's what I said last week. It's what I'll say this week. 23.5 points. It's a ton of points right there. It's a lot of points, but I don't like to bet on the worst team in college football. So I'm not taking the points and I'm not laying it. So no, nothing here, Pete. Sorry that I don't have more for you on this. It's just this is bad for me.
Yeah, there were. I know that there was the certain a little bit of a weather issue. I saw 14-15% wins listed, which is no, now I'm seeing now I'm seeing 20. Yeah. I think that and the other thing is that what Kent State can do offensively, which is not much, is they have a couple of receivers who are pretty decent. So the only thing they can do offensively is pass, and this might be just not show. They might get shut out here. All right, I'll make that an official
name your number game for Buffalo. It's a name your number game for Buffalo. I feel like it's just how many points do they feel like winning by, because they're going to be able to run the ball as much as they want up and down the field in this game.
Right. Okay, I'll go for it. I'll make that an official play. Kent State team total under 13.5 -107. It'll be close. Of course, there could be a backdoor touchdown, which does it for you. But I'll take a shot with that. Yeah, I have to. They're going into Buffalo, windy weather, program in shambles. Buffalo will be trying. They might really mail it in here. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. So I will give one official play there. Also leaning Buffalo minus the points and leaning under. But I'll just combine it with and make it a Kent State team total under. And Nutflush Allen hinting at Akron team total over, maybe being worth a play at 20 or 20.5. And I would agree with that. Got to think about it a little bit. Just one official play as of right now. Kong's clips like Buffalo team total over. Grab the points with Akron. That's definitely the way I'm leaning. I think I'll hold off here. Jerry Davis, Toledo has been shit for the last few weeks, and Akron playing well offensively. That is true. How pissed off is Toledo going to be, though? Because that last game was bad. It was at home. They had all these turnovers. It blew their season. maybe they're just pissed off and they have nothing to play for, but they'll just play because they're pissed off. You know what I mean, Dabby Cab? You're an athlete. You know how athletes think, right?
Play out of spite. I get it.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, I'm just going to take Kent State team total under. Wouldn't at all be surprised if they got shut out. And in fact, maybe depending on how big the dog line was, a shot on like Kent State team total under 6.5 or not to score at all might be something to consider as well. All right, that does it for today's show. Dabby Cab, great insights as always. What are you up to this week, baby? You got a family? You do Thanksgiving and stuff?
Man, my Thanksgiving is going to revolve around Texas A&M on Saturday. That's all and we'll be live right here on Pub Sports Radio for that game. So everybody, get your popcorn, get your beer, whatever you want. Tune in, Pete. You're more than welcome if you're free.
Maybe I will.
Yeah,
I just might do that, baby. Huge shout out to the comment section. Once again, you made this friggin' show saturated. Thanks for all your comments and congratulations on all the parlays you hit. Even though you lose parlays, okay. I guess that's not a shock to hear, but congratulations on the ones that you hit. Nutflush Allen, thank you so much for joining in, dropping in, and giving us whatever nuggets you can. Nutflush 16, shout out to you. And Kong's Clips, Brian Pocone, Jerry Davis, great comments. Everyone helps so much. Robert Franklin. I mean, I was coming in here with a few plays that I wasn't really liking. Now the overall card, I got a lot of plays I'm really liking. I think I'm going to have a nicely profitable. And then you throw in like live bets and halftime bets based on everything we've talked about. Personally, I want to thank everyone here in the comment section. Billy Brisbane, Mr. Gokster, and of course, Dabby Cab. We'll see you very soon, Dabby Cab. Thanks so much. Jose Bouquett, pretty good show, huh?
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Did you hear anything you're going to pull the trigger on, or you just like?
Hey, no, I'm still licking my wounds from a 1-4 fucking Cappers contest week. Disgusting display by me that I have to get better, but it's gonna be fun. I have to start searching. Maybe I'll find a new host for tomorrow since I can host. Pete, would you be interested? You doing anything tomorrow?
Maybe. What does this entail? Why
just
can't you
do
host
the
tomorrow?
just do the same show you did today tomorrow.
That might be a little. I'll have to see. I'll text you about it. I could. I'd have to see. I'd have to rearrange some stuff. I'm not exactly sure what I've committed to yet. I don't even know. I'll have to see.
Okay. Well, if you do, don't you worry, because you'll have the same exact people for everything except for college football. You'll have one Wine Time Sports and Connor Mack.
Oh, I love doing shows with him. All right. We'll see. Who knows what, sometimes you just play things by ear in life. Jose Bouquett, comment section. Another great show. We'll see you next Tuesday, everyone.